Welcome back, gamers. Today I'm going to be looking at the Rise of Tomb Raider for the PC, finally released after the Xbox One exclusive. Been waiting for this one for a while. So how does it run? While there are thousands of people running the game perfectly fine on the Steam forums, there are a handful of people out there that are having issues with the game, calling it unoptimized or having problems with their 980s. So hopefully we'll see some kind of patch to help that out, but overall for me, the game runs smooth as butter, everything works perfectly fine. I had no stutter, got to the big area zones, absolutely no stutter at all, so possibly it could be some type of problem with VRAM. Who knows? We don't know for sure, but we'll wait for a patch and see if they fix that up. As for the game itself, it is an absolutely gorgeous game on the PC, especially the only time I can find problems with this is that the game has a lack of SLI support. So SLI needs a bit of work. If you do own two cards out there, I would probably run it on one card. It runs fine on that, but SLI support seems to have some issues. As for me, I tested the game on certain different systems. I ran it on 1080, 1200, I ran it on my 980 Ti, and that works perfectly fine also. Ran it on 1440, runs awesome also. And of course, the only time I took an impact is when I turned on SSAA times 4. So of course the option itself will tell you, hey, if you turn this on, you're going to have some performance impact. This is the highest settings you can go. It gets rid of the film grain, which is really ugly on FXAA. Getting to the game itself, the voice acting in the game is perfectly fine. The new Lara look is okay. I'm not a big fan of it. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people prefer the 2013. As for me, I do prefer the 2013, but the look in this one, I'm absolutely fine with because every time they make a new Tomb Raider game, Lara Croft, for some odd reason, changes. We all know this. And the other thing is that the music in the game is absolutely stunning. Most of the game is the same formula as before, except it's much bigger and better. But enough of that, moving on. How is the graphics of the game? The amazing amount of details and texture in this game is phenomenal. I love the environments, and the look to Lara Croft is nice. I'm not a fan of it, however, I prefer more of the 2013 look. But let's face it, she always changes her look when a new Tomb Raider comes out, unfortunately. So that's the way it is. You just have to kind of get over it. Of course, when I mention the details, what am I talking about? The crumbling environments, the avalanches, and the snow falling. Everything in the environment destruction reminded me of the game Uncharted, however, not at that level yet. And of course, it is very nice to look at. And the amount of details in Lara Croft herself. For example, when she leaves a pool of water, she'll wring out her hair, you'll see snow fall on her hair and stick to it, she'll make animations when she's next to fire and she's cold, she'll rub her hands together. I mean, the amount of details is amazing, and if you look really close on her, you'll see the blood, sweat, and scratches she'll experience throughout the entire game. Aside from the graphics, what really can go wrong? Not much, except for the physics. I noticed that the physics can be a little bit wonky here and there. The only time I saw the physics being really wonky is when you're silently sneaking up on enemies and you're killing them, and then you watch as their body falls to the ground in a really awkward way. Aside from the graphics, the voice acting from the characters are superb, from the scriptures that are read to the characters themselves acting out, and also the sound effects of the environment along with the music that kicks in at certain times in the game. The only real problem I had with the sound effect, personally, is the sound of the guns themselves. Sometimes they sound really horrible, but overall it wasn't too bad. As for the story of the game, as usual, I don't want to spoil too much about it. You'll hear some religious context in the game, but mostly it has to do with an artifact that Lara Croft is looking for, that her father was looking for something that exists. And that artifact is being sought by another group called the Trinity, and the Trinity is trying to get their hands on it to take over the world, and that's where the story starts off. Now, most of the game's settings will take place in Eastern Europe and mostly in Siberia, where you'll see a lot of snow and of course more snow. But the main thing about this game is much of the formula is the same. The Tomb Raider formula is here. The only thing is that they've made it even more badass by expanding on that formula. For example, the hunting in the game is much more expanded. I remember the first time I played 2013 Tomb Raider, I was complaining about how I had much more materials left after farming it all over the place, and then hunting became useless. While in this one, hunting and finding materials is not useless because you can craft arrows and a lot of materials from it. The material is used to upgrade your equipment, your weapons, and also your bows. This time around, there are different types of bows you can find in the game, along with different types of guns and weapons. There are a good variety of weapons, however, they're pretty bad to handle until later on when you upgrade the guns themselves. So the guns and the weapons aren't so great until upgraded. Along with upgrading weapons and equipment, you can also upgrade the skills as you level up. There are also costumes you can change into and change out for Lara. Also returning to the game this time is the Survival Instinct site. If you know what that is, it's kind of like Eagle Eyes from the Assassin's Creed series or other games where you have the Survival Instinct where you can see items you can pick up or interact with. Now, of course, this site is used to help you find out what's in the environment, where are the hidden coins at, and what can be interacted with. And the annoying part about this is the only thing with this site is you can't use it having it turned on at all times. You have to press Q every time you make a stop. So you'll be pressing Q a lot of times just to know what you can pick up and what you can really use in the environments. And of course, my favorite thing about this series is definitely the tombs. Just like in 2013, the tombs are still in the game. They are hidden, you gotta find them, but this time around they're much more big and they require a bit of a puzzle to solve. Now the puzzles themselves are not too hard, they just require a bit of common sense. So if you don't overthink it, you'll be perfectly fine, you'll solve the puzzle no problem. The combat in the game still revolves around stealth gameplay or run and gun. You can pretty much gun everything down and kill everything as long as you point and shoot, and it's not too difficult to play the game as the difficulty scaling is a bit lacking. You might want to play the game on the hardest difficulty to give yourself a challenge, but even then it's pretty easy. As for the enemy AIs, they aren't too sophisticated, they do take covers and they shoot at you, but they're kind of stupid when it comes to seeing things go across. For example, if you throw bottles to distract them and you throw it in the air and it flies right over their head while they're looking at it, you know, stuff like that, or you can be like a few feet away from them and they still don't see you. So the AI is just okay in this game, not completely stupid, not too sophisticated. Returnings are also QTEs to the game. You'll find QTEs plenty in this game. There are QTEs for certain scenes, but they aren't overly saturated in the game, which is much better. There are also a lot of jumping puzzles, and this time around she can also swim. Aside from that, there are traps in the game, and the return of the gruesome death scenes are in this game also. And of course, this time around, they cut away the multiplayer of the game to focus on the story. So there isn't a multiplayer in the game, so the replayability is pretty much collecting all the stuff you see in the game. But there is an expedition mode in the game where you can challenge your friend's score by doing the tombs that you visited already to collect blue orbs and see how fast you can do it, earning the highest score to compare with friends on the leaderboards. And of course, that is it for my review of Tomb Raider. Now, if you're planning to pick the game up, make sure you meet the recommended spec or the minimal spec and see if the game runs fine for you and try it out. But keep in mind that the game just released, so hopefully they'll come out with patches to fix some of the unoptimization issues. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe and game on.
The wires here are corroded, but I think I can bypass it. Almost ready.
They're gonna bring the whole place down.
The Soviets destroyed much of the old paths. Those machines were not built for delicate work.
We'll have to sneak past them.
Yes, but we have to hurry.